So what's up guys, I'm the voice behind the helmet, and today we're going to do a how-to video. Today I'm going to show you guys how I changed the spark plugs on my 2014 Kawasaki Zx10r. Now this video should give you guys the basics on where to look for certain things or how to disassemble your bike in order to get to your spark plugs, etc. Now for spark plug recommendations, you're going to have to go to your user manual or Google it or do whatever you think is best. However, without further ado, let's get into this how-to video, guys. So the first thing you want to do is remove the rear seat and the front. You're going to have to remove this in order to get to this. Holy crap, this is rusted. Anyway, of course, I'm gonna get that cleaned up. But if you're gonna use a Allen key, this is gonna be a 3, or if you're gonna use a drill, it's gonna be a T15. Once you unbolt those 4 screws, you'll go ahead and pull out that rear fairing piece as shown previously. Now, what you're gonna do is come here. It's these 2 bolts. They're a 5 Allen key, a 5. Once you have these 2 bolts out, then the seat should slide right off like this. Boom, there you go. As you guys can see, I have the back and the front seat off, and just because I know I'm gonna take the tank off, I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this bracket. I'll give you guys a better look here shortly, and from here we're gonna keep moving up. Okay, so this is the bracket I was referring to. If you're using Allen keys, then it's gonna be a 5, which is right here. All right, so we now have the screws for the tank bracket out, and the reason why I took that out is because in order to get to the spark plugs, the tank has to come off. You wanna make this as easy and as accessible as possible. So that's why that's taken apart. Don't forget to disengage your fuel. It's just a clip right here, because when you take the tank off, depending on if there's pressure built up in the system, it's likely to pour out. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna work around the bike and start taking off the fairings, so that way we can get to the area of this bike that we need to get to. Excuse me. Before you take this off though, you want to disconnect that fuel line that I was telling you guys about. You just pinch down and pull back. Hopefully you guys got a good view, but there's lines that's keeping this from pulling back. There's clamps up here that locks these in. So if you can't reach it with your hand, then I use a needle nose. You gotta be super careful though. All right, so I got that loose, and this is what you'll get once those tubes are removed. You'll pull this up. This is what you will take off next. In the event that it does leak out, I do have a drain pan over here, a drip pan, as well as some shop floor towels, baby. These are handy. They got them on sale at Walmart. Okay guys, we got the tank off, and what needs to happen next is the airbox need to come off. Don't forget, when you take your tank off, what I do is I take a cloth like this, and then I'll put it here just so no dust will get in it. Safety precautions, or if you have like one of those rag cloggers that can go in there, it doesn't hurt to put it in there. So let's take off the airbox next. What I'm gonna start with doing is start taking it loose. All of these pieces. It's the easiest thing to do. So next thing I'm gonna do is loosen these 2 bolts. It's 2 of these, one on this side, one on the other. A few more things that we need to disassemble on this airbox before it's completely off. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the last steps of what we need to take apart before we actually are able to access the spark plugs. Alright, so there's a few more things that we need to do. airbox is able to come out. So we're gonna have to disconnect this. We're gonna have to take this off right here, this screw. That's gonna have to come off as well, and that is a 4 Allen key, number 4. Don't forget to take out this. That needs to come out in order for the airbox to get lifted out, and that's gonna be a 5. After we're done that, this will be one of the last things that have to come down. And it's good to have a needle nose handy if you don't already. So I'm having a little bit of trouble moving around the way I like to comfortably. So this bracket right here, this is a 10mm socket. What I'm gonna do now is just take that off just so I can have more room to work with. So as you guys can probably see that I used a Allen key with the ball tip. I used a 4. And if you don't have a drill that you can use as an attachment, it's gonna take some time. It can become very tedious. So my advice is get a drill with the extension and the attachment, or else it'll take longer than it needs to for this process. So now that that screw is out, this should be able to lift up and out. Up, looks like I have something still attached, but be mindful that this piece right here is gas will probably still come out, so it's good to have something there. So one disadvantage about Kawi is that once you take the bike apart, you're literally gonna have to gut everything. Like for the airbox, I literally had to open it up. You know, I was gonna check the air filter anyway, so I did that. But it's a flap where you take to disconnect these relays. We have everything apart, and you know that you're there once you see this. So behind here, these are where your spark plugs are. So you have 1, mine is a little bit hidden, but 1, 2, 3, and 4. Can't see it because this is in the way. So once you are able to expose the spark plug, you want to remember lefty loosey, righty tighty, right? At least that's the way I remember it. So what I did was I turned it to the left, I unclipped it, and then you're gonna have to apply pressure here. This will pop out. You're gonna have to apply pressure, and in order to help me out, I used a flathead. What I used to get that spark plug out is a ratchet wrench, and then I used a 5/8 socket. So I just showed y'all how I got to that first spark plug. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest and get them out. Make sure that you don't mix up the boots that come with it. So this is the old spark plug here on the left, and this is signs of normal wear. And this is the new one that'll be going in. So mine came pre-gapped. So if yours isn't pre-gapped, then be sure to gap yours correctly. If you don't know the measurements of your gap, then refer to your user's manual, or you know, your source of information on Google. So before I jump into the full portion or the time lapse of me putting the spark plugs back in, you guys, be sure that your spark plugs are hand tight, and the way I verify that is I take my 5/8 and I hand twist it myself. So you want to make sure it's hand tight, right? And then you want to do a 1/2 to 2/3 turn with the actual ratchet wrench when tightening these things back down. Tongue twister. Alright, so we got the spark plugs back in, and what I'm gonna do now is reassemble the bike, put everything back together, and then run it through just to make sure everything's good. Alright, so we got group participation here. So we got Jay Willie in the building, and we got Tay Baby, and they're gonna help me reassemble the bike and get on the road. Alright guys, so that concludes this video. I had to go ahead, shower, change, just because I had spilled gas on my leg when I was putting the tank back on. Also, y'all can see like Jay Willie and Tay came over to help me out, so to y'all, I appreciate the help. One thing to note is that again, you hand tighten your spark plugs and then you give it either a half of a turn with the ratchet wrench or 2/3, but you don't want to like keep tightening it down, or else you could damage that or strip it. Another thing to keep in mind is make sure everything is connected before you put that fuel plug back in, or you can actually burn your wires, and I'm speaking from experience on that behalf. And again, with your spark plugs, just make sure that you are checking your owner's manual, or that you're doing your research to know what spark plugs your bike specifically take. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, but if you loved it, then give me a sub. And of course, as always, until next time guys.